Hey, so made welcome back to my tutorials. In today's tutorial, I'll be taking you guys on a tutorial video on how to sew and cut this beautiful gown on your screen. This is a ruche gown that has a smoky waist basque on the waist. Yes, so I'll be taking you guys on a tutorial video on how to make it. So if you enjoyed the video, stay tuned and let's get started. So first and first, I'll be using this brown pattern paper to draft my basic body measurements. So here, this is the bust point, the under bust, and the half length and the full length. So getting started, I'll be using the whole of 20 inches for the shoulder parts. Remember, so because I did not want it to be too much exaggerated, so that's why I use 20. You can use 21, 25, depending on how bigger you want yours to be. So the next thing I'm going to do at this point is to come down by 1 inch, and then I'll be imputing my round arm measurement, dividing it by 4, and then I'll be adding like 2 inches extra. So having done that, the next thing I'm going to do is to come in by 3 inches at my bust point, and then I'm going to make this curve an armhole curve. Okay, so having done that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do right now is to connect it down to my underbust. Okay, because the exaggeration is actually going to stop at the underbust. So moving forward, I'll be dividing my waist by 4, and at this point I'm not going to be adding any allowance yet, because the waist part is smoky elastic stitches. So I'll be imputing extra allowances while cutting on my fabric. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect down to the full length. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is just to mark out my neckline. So here I'll be using 3.5 for the width of my neckline. You can use 3, but I decided to use 3.5 because the client I'm making it for is a little bit bigger. So here I'm going to be marking the length of my neck. Okay, you can mark yours to the length of the underbust, and then you make a crossing V at the underbust. But if you don't want, you can just you can just use a length of 7, 8, depending on what you want. So I'll go ahead and cut out this upper part that's starting from the underbust. So I'll go ahead and cut it out. Then I'll cut my neckline. Okay, so I'm going to cut it out, and then I will cut my shoulder slope. I'll be cutting on my shoulder slope. Okay. Okay, here I had a change of mind to make my neckline to be at the underbust. Then I'm going to make a crossing at the underbust. Okay, so I cut out my shoulder slope, and then I move over to the waist part. That's this side. I'm just going to go ahead and cut out my measurements as shown. Okay, so having done that, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to achieve my basque. But as I said, I am not going to be achieving this basque directly here, because I want it to be at my when I'm done achieving my smoky stitches, then I will ascertain my basque. So but I'm just going to go ahead and draw it, just for reference purposes. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is not to cut it out. So I'll be using the beautiful fabric. So here I've cut out the upper part. So now paying attention at this down part, as smoky part, I'm going to be extending my allowance by 5 inches. Okay, so just to enable my smoky to be much gathered very well. The smoky effect. If you don't put much allowance, you might end up cutting your main allowance. Okay, so I went as far as 5 inches. Please do not go below 5 inches. do not go below 5 inches from your measurement. So I added 5 inches extra for my smoky stitches. Okay, I'll go ahead and cut it out and then move over to the next step. Okay. All right. Okay, so moving over, I'll go ahead and cut out the back as well. Okay. So here, this is the sewing part. This is an interface that I used in turning my neckline. Okay, you can. I think an interface is better off to use in turning your neckline for those who are more knowledgeable in what's it called again, piping. Yeah, sorry, piping. You can do piping if you want, but I think I prefer an interface in using turning my neckline. Okay, and it actually works very fine for me. So right here I'll be interfacing my neckline. So I'm going to show you guys how neatly, beautifully it is. So right here, this is how neat and beautiful it actually comes out when I'm done using my interface. So here, the next thing I'm going to do is to make my drawstrings. So I'll be using this piece to make this drawstring. So if you do not know how to make a drawstring, please pay very good attention at this part, so you'll be able to grab this drawstring part. So at this point, I'm going to be using this piece. I think I use a width of 2 to make this drawstring, and as length as the length of your shoulder. Okay, so I'll be folding this I'll be folding it in, to hide the rough edges. So I'll be folding it in, and then I'll be making my stitches. Okay. So guys, the next thing I have to do is to fold my sleeve. Before this drawstring before I can be able to achieve this, I have to fold this my sleeve so that the drawstring can go down the sleeve length. Because if I do not do it, I might end up it's not going to be neat. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm trying to say at this point. This sleeve side, I have to fold it before I can extend my drawstring. Okay, so right now I am folding my sleeve as shown. So once I'm done folding, I'll go ahead and continue achieving my drawstring. I'm just going to go ahead and do it and then show you guys how neat the drawstring is. Okay guys, so this is my drawstring and it's very neat. Okay, this method actually gives you a perfect neat work. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is at the upper part, I'm just going to make a print at the both side. Okay, so this is a print. I'm making this print at the both side. So once I'm done, next thing I'm going to do is to attach the down part with this upper part. Okay, so just make prints. You can use gather stitches if you want, but I don't want to use the gather stitches. I want to use this print. So this is the down part, that's smoky parts. I've gone ahead to run my smoky stitches, and then for the basque, this is how I'm going to attach my basque. I'm going to fold this into 2 and then go up by 3 inches. That 3 inches that I told you guys earlier, I'll go up by 3 inches and then I'll cut it out. Okay, so this is how it's going to look. As you can see, the basque effect is already showing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead to make a very neat cut. So I'll be making a very neat cut. So I also go ahead and make the same basque effect at the back of my at the back of the at the back, sorry. So that is it. So we are actually coming to the end of this beautiful tutorial. Okay, so right now I'm also going to do the same thing that I did at the front, coming up by 3 inches, and then I'll be cutting it out to ascertain my basque effect. So once I'm done, the next thing I'm just going to do is to attach my upper body to this smoky part. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it, and then I'll show you guys. So this is how it looks. The next step at this part is just to attach the down part, which is the gathered part. So before then, I'll just go ahead and stitch a kind of shape the front and the back. I'll be using 1 inch to shape the both parts. So once I'm done, the next thing I'm going to do is to join my down part, that's the gathered part. I used a width of 3 yards, and the length, you cut your desirable length. Sorry, I did not show you guys the parts of that, the down parts, but I guess you guys can actually go about it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and shape down this upper part using 1 inch. So take your time, and stretch your smoky part until you get to the down edges. Okay. So this is, I've gone ahead to attach the down part, and that is it for now. So this is it. So this is the final look of this beautiful gown, looking so beautiful. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm going to see you guys in my next video. Bye.